And hello, everybody. Duke's here. And who else?
Bagg is also here.
In the same place.
In the same... And where are we?
Where are we?
We are, I believe... Well, we're on a beach. Sort of south. I am not the right person to ask in this context.
Listener, this is Dockweiler Beach. If you have ever flown into Los Angeles, when you fly over the beach, we're on the beach you fly over. And we rode our bikes here because Chris Bagg is visiting LA for a vacation, maybe a little bit of a working vacation, but definitely a playing vacation.
Totally.
And we want to welcome you to our live draft episode where we are going to determine the next 5 series of works that we're going to consider.
Yeah, this is what you're going to be reading and listening to for the next year.
Very exciting. We already know what's going to happen, but you don't. We're going to let this Southwest 737 go overhead. It's not actually an F-14.
I mean, like we could say that it was.
Yeah. It would have gone by more quickly.
And it doesn't have that sort of desperate shriek. Yeah. That fighter jets do.
They tend to vary their sound more because they're doing more stuff. So you're going to hear us on a Zoom call. Occasionally you're going to hear us responding to comments. You're not going to hear the comments, so that's why every now and then we'll stop mid-sentence and be like, oh yeah, this is the definition of noir, or something like that. There are a few moments like that. Do you want to tell them what we did recently with our friends' big campaign?
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, just when Upper Middlebrow started, another podcast series of shows started as well, called Big Campaign Stories. And you reached out to Jeff, who runs Big Campaign Stories, and formed a promo swap. And we listened to their show. They are Pathfinder First Edition actual play. And an actual play is when people get together and record themselves playing D&D for other people to listen to and or watch. And eventually, he invited us on Big Campaign Stories to do what is called a side hustle. What takes place in the side hustle episodes at BCS?
Often it's 1 or 2 characters who go on a small mission for some corporation or warlord or somebody like that for 1 or 2 episodes. And in this case, I play Serge Koznets, who is a bardic anthropologist, and you play...
I play Olmus Elba. Not Idris Elba, which is like I realized later was like a very close, because I kept being like...
Maybe a little subliminal...
Why is my name Olmus? I was like, seems so close to Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Olmus is a tree. That name is actually... that is Latin for slippery elm. That's how I came up for that. But yeah, Olmus is an Artori. Jeff invented all of these races and the world that we are playing in. And yeah, Olmus is basically a tree person.
And so Serge and Olmus go off on a mission to do a delivery of some artifacts, and things go sideways.
Of course they do.
And there are 2 whole episodes, and they're both out now. So if you do a search for Big Campaign Stories in your podcast app, you'll find it, or you can follow the link in our show notes, and you can find it that way too. But without further ado, let's get into our live draft.
Season 3.
So, have you heard of this new tool from Google called Notebook LM?
Nope. Is it notebook language model?
Okay. I think that's what the LM does stand for, and that does sort of... So, it is a beta-tested product from Google that they have spent a lot of money and time on, and it is similar in genre to like Notion or Capacities, note-taking apps. Notion's more of a wiki. Capacities is more of a almost like a foldering situation. But the thing that it has that those apps don't have yet is it has Gemini AI will create various tools to allow you to interact.
Hooray.
Jenny's here. We have a guest.
Jenny Grieve is here.
Connecting to audio, though. Yay! Oh, we can't see you.
Jenny's still at work. Nice. Jenny has been burning the evening oil at work this week. When I have been leaving, she is usually still there.
I didn't really. Okay, well, I'm fine with people like showing up video too. Like, so Jenny, you're welcome to let us see your face and your sunglasses and your beautiful workspace. The entire. Oh, you do have the same like co-working space?
We do, yeah. We work at a place called Embark. It's very fun. Yeah.
We are dressed up because we respect our audience. So what Notebook LM does is it then creates a sort of like AI chatbot that allows you to interact with whatever documents or notes or other things you upload. That could be a PDF or something like that. It reads it. Oh, we have a guest.
Hey, Kevin's here. Right on.
I don't think I know Kevin. Is Kevin one
Kevin
of your...
Kevin is in the D&D group that my friend Ryan runs. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Kevin, if you don't know the podcast that Jesse and I do, you'll get a little taste of it in a second. But we read books and we watch films that are high craft, but like widely popular. And then we talk about them. We've been doing it for 2 years, and we have one of these drafts every fall where we pick the next year of books, and there will be a chance for you to participate in that if you want to. But at the moment, we're rambling, which is a key aspect of any upper middlebrow show. And Jesse is telling us about a new AI product.
Notebook LM. So it will summarize the documents you upload to it or your notes or other things, and you can select which ones. It does a lot of summaries. It will do an FAQ. It'll do a study guide. It will do a little article, but it will also generate a 2-person chat podcast, much like the format of Upper Middlebrow. And I have now done this twice, and it is like uncannily good at the stylistic conventions of modern American podcasting. I would say the summaries are not very good. Like I actually just wrote a blog post about it today, and I should have been doing other work, but it's good at like, okay, so what I'm doing right now, pauses, vocal tics, thinking out loud, getting my thoughts in order. It adds all of those things. What you're doing right now, whoa, like
really?
It adds those yes and it does those things with an extraordinary simulacrum of realism, which is amazing and cool, but it is also, there's some part of me that's like, wow, I don't think I realized quite how formulaic and to what degree we are operating in a convention until I heard a machine spoof it. So it is weird, and I don't know. I was thinking about feeding it an Upper Middlebrow transcript and seeing what it did with that, but I think that would be weird because it would be like a podcast summary of a podcast. I'm not sure what it would do. Yeah, I mean, so it might be.
It'll just be doing the thing that is happening with AI, where like AI is beginning to sort of cannibalize itself. And there's one of my favorite gaming podcasts. The host went on a very astute rant about AI in gaming, and he has this thing where he was like, the best large language model to use for gaming is your brain. Your brain powered by real books. And it's I think he is correct. And like another a podcast that Jenny actually sent me about Blade Runner was talking about, the problem with AI art is that it has no heart, it has no emotion. And so the analogy I'm coming up with is that like AI art and a lot of these AI things, it's like you put the facade of a house up without the foundation or the framing. Yeah.
It is both the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow.
If I only had a heart or a brain and a brain.
Yeah, and a brain. Well, it's 5 after. That was our ramble.
Yes.
We have another visitor. So I think we need to do our drawing.
Oh my God, Janelle is here. This is wonderful.
Oh, well, the Chris, like if this were a wedding, all the guests would be on one. If we were getting married, all the guests would be on your side of the chapel right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So let's see. I will quickly do the same introduction. This is great. Do you guys want to play some D&D? Everybody here plays D&D. This is great.
I'll stick around. Like we'll hit 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and then if we want to have it after hours.
Janelle, this podcast is called Upper Middlebrow, and once a year, Jesse, my co-host here, and I hold a live draft where we pick the next year of books, and you have a chance to get your voice heard and alter what we are reading over the next year. But we are moving to the second part of our schedule tonight, which I believe is a drawing for this storied Bluetooth speaker.
It sure is, Chris Bagg. That's
excellent
exactly what's
for
happening right now.
listening to Upper Middlebrow on. Jesse had another one of these. We were going to give 2 away, but apparently he lost it. So happily we have a backup. 2 is 1 and 1 is none, is the as the SEALs like to say.
And we have 4 participants, so I'm going to need you to roll 1d8, and I have a number chart representing each participant. But I'm not going to tell you whose number is what, so that because there's a conflict of interest, one of the contestants is Chris's dad. But I'm not going to tell you which one. And the way that you would be entered in this drawing would have been to fill out our survey, which you're still welcome to do. But you had to do it as of midnight last night. So
Ooh.
Whenever you're ready, Chris Bagg, what is the die roll?
I got the maximum. I got an 8.
I would say the winner is Steve Watts. And I don't know who that person is. Do you know Steve Watts?
I do know Steve Watts, yeah. Steve is great. Steve is a banker. Steve lives in Portland. Whenever Steve drives somewhere, he asks me for a book recommendation and then the corresponding Upper Middlebrow episode. So like he's like, I need to listen to a book and then I need you to walk me through what is happening in the book. He is going to be tickled pink that he won this storied Bluetooth speaker.
And I have his email address, so we can write him for the address as well. Or you can hand it to him next time you're in Portland.
That's true. I could. I was
really hoping that Peter Bagg would win so that you could hand deliver, but that's all right. I'm very happy for Steve Watts.
And, we could tell our guests here to go fill out our listener survey.
You're absolutely welcome to do that. The easiest way to do it would be to go to uppermiddlebrow.com, and there's a link right there. We are going to be sending you a bunch of links tonight. In fact, I could probably share the worksheet with everybody. Let me just take a look at our rundown. Oh, we have another guest, Ryan.
Oh my God.
Wow, this is great.
This is great.
Janelle, you're totally fine. All you got to do is soak up our charm and get excited about books.
Yeah.
If you can manage that.
If you've seen, Janelle, you've seen...
If you're not sure how to soak up our charm, just follow Jenny G's example. She will role model it. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to share with everybody our next series worksheet. This is going to be the thing that we're going to be filling out collectively tonight. And we're going to explain that in a little bit. So I'm going to put that in the group chat. Do I have a group chat? Is there a group chat? Do you have a group chat?
We do. It's down towards the bottom. You just click on...
Chat. There it is. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, wait. And everybody's... Yeah.
Everyone's chatting away.
Yeah. This is great. Keep the chats coming. So we've done the drawing, so we're going to do the review of the night's plan. I've just shared the working doc with the group. The way this is going to work is that Chris and I each have 4 series of approximately 6 episodes, which would often translate into 3 books, although it might be 2 novels and 2 novellas, or it could be 6 movies or 5 movies or something like that. It could be a play. And so we are going to unveil our proposed series to one another, and we're going to do some kibitzing, and we're going to do some lobbying. And in the middle, we have a very special announcement that Chris is going to make. It's not our engagement. I know that would have been very exciting. And then we're going to unveil all 4 of them, and then each of us will nominate 2 of the other's series. And we're gonna do that one at a time for maximum suspense. So then, at that point, we will have 4 series that we have selected, and we will have 4 series that we have rejected and we have put into the rejection bin. into rejection purgatory. And then you, all of you who are participating, will have the opportunity to vote one of those series out of the rejection bin and onto the podcast. This has never been done before in Upper Middlebrow history. This is the first time. You will be the first people to participate in this. The first presenter of a series will be Chris Bagg presenting his first series.
Janelle's laughing, which is great. That's awesome.
I'm sure there's lots of laughter that we can't hear.
Yeah. I'm sure that it's just a wall of jocularity on the other side of this Zoom room.
Okay, so I don't see any questions, and we will explain as we go along. Yep. You can also, if you're in the doc, you'll sort of see it happen. So Chris Bagg, does your first series have a name?
Yes.
And I'll take notes if you want to.
My first series does have a name. We're going to see if my copying and pasting happens correctly. But my first series is called Revenge of the Jock Nerds. So that's Revenge of the Jock-Nerds. And I have 3 books here that I'm going to paste in that are The Amateurs by David Halberstam, which is a book not even about the Olympics, about the Olympic rowing trials in, I believe, heading into the 1984 Olympics. Whichever one was in Los Angeles. I can't remember if that was 80 or 84. It is an excellent book. The Rider by Tim Krabbe, which is about a fictional one-day cycling race in Europe. It is a work of fiction, that one. The Amateurs is nonfiction. And then Where No One Knows Your Name by the great baseball writer John Feinstein, about what life is like in the minor leagues.
Do you have the years of these books by any chance?
Ooh, that's a good one. The Amateurs is going to be early 80s. The Rider, I believe, is also 80s or 90s. And Where No One Knows Your Name is recent. So I can figure that one out.
It's not urgent. I only know Halberstam and Feinstein. I do not know Tim Krabbe. That's strong. That's a strong opener.
Yeah, well, I went for it. I'm very pleased with the Revenge of the Jock-Nerds title, because if you have seen Revenge of the Nerds, the antagonists are jocks. Right. And Jesse and I live in the middle.
I mean, our whole podcast is Revenge of the Jock-Nerds, basically. Like we're taking our revenge.
Jenny has a great point here. That David Halberstam, as we are to sports and nerdy things, David Halberstam is to sports and political nerdy things. It's so easy to forget that he's also one of the great political writers of our generation.
That's right. Right.
And I mostly
he wrote some inside the Nixon administration articles, and then I believe also had some Vietnam reporting that was well regarded. He is considered wordy. Big books. Big.
Wordy?
Big
what
books.
Is,
wordy. Wordy.
What is wordy? What is that? Is that,
arguably all writers are sort of working with words, right?
Well, yes, but as somebody who has also fielded the critique of verbosity, or prolix, isn't that great that that's also another word that sort of stands in for wordy or verbose? Prolix, what a strange and wonderful word.
I don't know that word.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, that's my first series, Revenge of the Jock-Nerds.
Column A. Wait, so how did you? You're putting. I see how. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So, first book is, and I don't have the dates either. P.D. James.
Ooh.
An Unsuitable Job for a Woman, which I believe was her debut novel. It was certainly her debut mystery novel. I believe it's from the early 80s or late 70s. The next book is Kate Atkinson's Case Histories.
I don't know that.
English countryside murder mystery from probably the late 90s or early 2000s. And I will say I've read all of these, but not recently. And I thought it would be fun to do some mysteries. And I thought it would be fun, sort of similar to our Black SF, to do the genre with an identity that is often not associated with the genre, but probably should be. And so the third one is Tana French's, I believe, also debut novel, In the Woods. That was probably from like the early 2000s.
Nice.
Agatha's Descendants.
That sounds fun. Yeah, there'd be some killer dramatic irony if you have read them and I have not. You know, like that's going to be a fun tension during the show.
Well, that sometimes happens, you know, or, and sometimes I feel like sometimes I say it's really with a checkoff. Sometimes one of us is very fascinated to hear the other person's. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? Everybody gets a door prize.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
These are the door prizes.
Jenny's going to be so happy.
They're punk rock style decals in the style of our podcast merged with the Endless Summer logo. Yes, you'll get one. And they're perfect for plastering on sort of like your local skate park or like wherever the local punks like put their decals of their bands. You can put your decal of your favorite literary podcast, which I'm sure will go far. Depending on the number of attendees, we'll send you like 2 or 3. But if you feel like you have a place where you'd like to drop them off, like a bookstore or something, let me know and I'll send you a bunch. Happy to do that. So that I forgot about the door prizes, but you're all getting them, and when you vote, you're going to give us your mailing address so that we can mail you your door prize. So that's how that's going to work. But yeah, I guess we got to move on to CKB2.
Oh, I thought you're right.
You're right. That's right.
You're next.
We're going
you're
Bagg,
next.
Duke's Bagg. Yep.
A Duke's sandwich with some Bagg bread.
Sandwich. All right. Well, this series, it has a very simple title. I wish I'd come up with something better, but very simply, it is just called Three Body, and the author of each book is the same, so I'm going to paste them all in at once. This is Su Shin-Lu's seminal hard sci-fi trilogy, starting with the Three Body Problem. These are the most amazing sci-fi books I've read in like the last decade, and I think probably the greatest sci-fi trilogy I've ever read, perhaps competing with the Foundation series and perhaps competing with a couple of Kim Stanley Robinson. But I gotta say, I don't think there are a lot of good sci-fi trilogies. I think often when you have sci-fi trilogies, the first book is the good one, and then the other 2 books are just sort of like play in the world establishing. But these 3 books build upon each other, but there are new ideas in every book. And I don't think you've read them, right?
No, I haven't. But I'm glad that you picked it because I was toying with throwing the Three Body Problem into one of my choices, and I didn't. So I'm glad that you've got it because I have been, really wanting to read that. So then I can go watch the show, which I hear is also good, but I really would like to read the book. You want to
read the book first,
okay.
In this case. Yeah, I've seen some clips from the show, and it does look good. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's actually part of why I wanted to do it, because my hope was we would talk about it for the podcast, and then we, maybe we'll do a live event where we watch the preview of the show.
Okay. I think I am up next. There are 4 books in this one. One of them could probably go, but I couldn't really figure out where.
Could any of them be a single ep? Or any of them
perhaps, perhaps, yeah. Some of the earlier ones probably could, but I'm calling this series Relativistic Noir. That pasted badly. that is not where I wanted that to paste.
I saw some of those though. So I'm excited.
We've got some classic noir to kind of set the principles of noir. So we've got The Long Goodbye by Raymond Chandler, and then Red Harvest by Dashiell Hammett, which I have never read, but oh my God, the plot synopsis. I was like, I think this book is aimed directly at Chris and Jesse. There's like aspects of the Western. It takes place in, Los Angeles. It's noir. And
Jenny Grieve wants you to define noir.
Oh God. Okay.
I have a definition noir that is handy. That I could throw out
noir usually ends up. It's one of those terms that like showed up to describe something that had come into existence in terms of like hard-boiled detective films and novels, very pulpy, and some like very strong examples of the genre are like The Maltese Falcon. Casablanca is also traditionally noir, but like with some strong elements of romance tossed in there. The biggest aspect of noir is that the protagonist really needs to figure something out in order for the plot to progress. And usually they are mystery novels, but the figuring something out also tends to be kind of existential to the protagonist. So if they don't figure it out, something very bad might happen to them, which is usually a little different than like a detective novel where the detective is not in danger, and there's a lot of sort of pulp and romance and debt that is usually kind of show up in noir.
I think what I would add to that is that there's sort of two kinds of noir that I've identified, and one is detective noir and the other is criminal noir. So in detective noir, the detective has something to figure out, and I think the other element that you sort of alluded to is the detective almost always gets personally entangled.
Yeah.
Often through romantic entanglement, but not just. So Chinatown, kind of a modern neo-noir. Also, The Long Goodbye has elements of that, which I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book. And then criminal noir, actually, I would say Neuromancer is an example. And that is often hardened criminal assembles crew to pull off one more big job, but again, some kind of personal complications ensue. There's some sort of conflict between the job the criminals are trying to pull off and our criminal protagonists' motivations. So, in the case of Neuromancer, I think it's the relationship between Case and Molly. I'm trying to think of another. There's a lot of great French criminal noirs by the director Jean-Pierre Melville, where it's sort of like the loyalty the criminals have to each other might actually interfere with their ability to pull off the big heist.
Yeah. Two more books on here: The City and the City by China Mieville, which I'm really excited about reading. And then I threw Leviathan Wakes in there by James S.A. Corey, which is the first book of the Expanse series, because it is a weird book in that it is like, in some ways, a very traditional sci-fi thriller, and in other ways, a very traditional noir book in space. And we enjoy fucking around with genre, and so that's why. And it's a quick read. It's a quick, enjoyable read. It's a big book, but it still reads real fast. So I think we can get through it in 2 episodes. And I think we could probably
read a bunch of noir already. Like The Intuitionist. Yeah, I bet a couple of those could be one episodes if they needed to be.
So this next series is called Unfair Debuts. And every now and then authors come out with debut novels that are too fucking good. It's just not fair.
Yes,
that you can,
it's really annoying. It's annoying.
It's very frustrating that they turn out something that is like Athena springing fully formed from Zeus's head. And
I'd be tempted to eliminate them, but then we would not get the benefit of their beautiful writing. And so we just have to live with it.
So the 3 books in this one are The Mysteries of Pittsburgh by Michael Chabon, Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. I'm playing a little fast and loose with the rules here because Saunders had like 17
short story collections
before he published Lincoln in the Bardo. But I haven't read it, and I know it's really good, and George Saunders is amazing. And then Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I have never read, but I also hear is very good. And I am excited about those. But Jesse and I have been talking about The Mysteries of Pittsburgh for some time. I keep being like, it's so freaking good. So that one had to kind of make it into one of my suggestions.
I read it about 20 years ago. I do remember a very memorable scene involving a, shall we say, soiled bedsheet.
Yes.
And I have read Strange and Norrell too, and it's excellent. As well as Piranesi, which came out a couple years ago. I've not read Lincoln in the Bardo, so that's an exciting one. This is a strong one, man. This is frustrating because we're going to have to reject some of these.
Yep, some of these.
I'm going to give you number 3, right?
Yep. You're up for number 3. You're gonna do the rest of yours.
Right. Well, I call this one OG Cinematic Universe.
Oh, this is exciting.
And the first book is a certain novel called Dracula.
Oh,
by
hell
Bram
yes.
Stoker.
Oh, right
the
on.
The second book is A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle.
Nice.
And
that's probably a one-episoder.
You know, it's got 2 parts to it, which we could look at. It might be a one-up, but it does have this like Western novel
yes,
embedded
Frankenstein.
in it, which I've never
marvelous.
read. And I did some math, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe that these 3 books have led to something like 50 films having been produced, which I think would beat Marvel, DC. I'm trying to think of other cinematic universes. There might have been some Western characters, like Will Rogers may have had a more extensive cinematic universe. But there it is, OG Cinematic Universe. I also think that with all 3 of these books, you're seeing kind of the first experiments with some of the literary techniques that we've talked about in other books that we've read. So that is JPD 3. I do JPD 4?
You do JPD 4, yes.
This is a recycled pitch.
Nice.
So I'm going to just do it quickly. You'll recognize it. It is just called Ripley en film.
Oh, all right. This is going to be hard.
And Purple Noon by René Clément is a French adaptation of the novel The Talented Mr. Ripley from about 1961, starring... I accidentally pasted too much stuff there. Starring Alain Delon. Great. Again, star of a lot of those French noir movies. The American Friend, which is a weird film with directed by Wim Wenders with... I'm forgetting it. Dennis Hopper as Tom Ripley.
Oh, wow. Hell yeah.
Ripley Underground. This is a low-budget production starring, I want to say, Barry Pepper, who is a character actor who's appeared here and there in recent era. I don't know anything about it other than I like the novel it's based on. Ripley's Game, which you and I watched together in like 2002, starring John Malkovich. Take this watch.
Why?
And then, of course, Anthony Minghella's The Talented Mr. Ripley, which I would propose we would do as a live watch party.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be a good one. It'd be good to, we had a very ambivalent experience of Steve Zalian's Ripley earlier this year, and it would be. It's not that we're washing the taste of that particular series out of our mouths, but both of us really like the Minghella version.
Well, Jenny just volunteered Janelle as the host for the live watch party.
Janelle, you gotta get that house finished.
I mean, if this happens, it could very well happen in about a year, so there's time. So yeah, we need CKB4.
Okay, CKB4. This one is simply called Spaceward Ho. And we've got Consider Phlebas by Ian Banks, The Star Fraction by Ken MacLeod, and Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. I have read none of these, but I did a quick search for, I am looking for excellent and sort of universe expanding sci-fi examples, and this is sort of what I came up with. And there was enough all of these were recommended many times in the places that I was looking, so I was sort of like, all right, yeah, that seems pretty good.
I also like that Calvin and Hobbes apparently named your series too.
Yep. Exactly. That's why it was I was like, why does that sound so familiar?
The only one of those I know anything about is Ian Banks, and I haven't read any of them.
That kicks off a series called the Culture series, which is 14 books or something like that. I don't think it is a plot episodic series. You don't get the same characters. it's not the wheel of time. But you sort of exist in the world. It had like a lot of like Lancer overtones. It was like, a post-scarcity galaxy. And I was like, I'm sure Miguel read this while he was writing Lancer. But that's my last clutch of books.
So what we now have is a kibitzing period during which you and I can ask each other questions about these series, and also the attendees are welcome to chat questions or to lobby. And then what we'll do is you and I will each unveil our first choice, and then we'll unveil our second choice. We could unveil them both at the same time, but that would be minimally dramatic, and we're not interested in minimal drama here.
No. We want maximum drama.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, what made you turn to the OG cinematic universe? Like, what got you thinking about those three, like not just like iconic, but like foundational, like pieces of work?
I read Dracula for the first time about a year ago, and I was really impressed. And I don't like horror as a genre. And there were a couple of moments in that book where I was like, I'm going to read something else before I go to bed, or otherwise I'm going to imagine like a Victorian man at my window tapping at the door and then flying off as a bat. I don't think that's a spoiler. There's a Victorian man who taps at windows. I was really impressed. It's an epistolary novel, which is just a triumph of craft. It is to some degree a melodrama, which doesn't age well. But it also really reminded me of A Study in Scarlet, which I've read a couple times. I read it in middle school, and then I think I read it in my 20s. And I was struck by how similar Van Helsing and Sherlock Holmes characters are as both products of post-Enlightenment rationalism and scientific thinking. And I thought that was interesting. And I've never read Frankenstein. And then I also I think there's all this talk about like Marvel and DC and cinematic universes. And I was just like, let's go back to the first one, So that's what got me into it. And then I believe Frankenstein was written like 30 or 40 years before both of them too. So I also think it's a very early genre novel.
We're like mid-19th century, I think, like 1850s, 1860s,
I think for Frankenstein, and then Dracula and Study in Scarlet are more like 1880s or 1870s or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like what's wild about those books is like you don't get much like traditional horror. Like the horror film is about being stuck and like being stuck with bad resources. And like those novels are more traditional, like Gothic novels, which is why they're melodramas. It's about the height of emotion and things like that.
And not a lot of violence. A little violence, but not a lot of violence.
More of the the sublime,
and more of the horror, right? Like the horrific nature of being confronted with this monster that has come into the world through some kind of horrible process.
And wrapping your human brain around that. I think that's one thing that's like so cool about those novels is they really deal with the otherworldly aspect of it. Like, oh my God, which like these days we don't really experience much of because we have things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe to paint the rest of the universe, and it's just less surprising these days. It's less sublime.
It's also, I think, what I like about the first two novels, and I don't know to what degree this is in Frankenstein, but the heroes both have this faith in science to defeat the unholy, and I think there's this tremendous optimism around essentially the industrial age and scientific thinking. Which is, it is both well-placed and misplaced, and fascinating. Totally. And it should remind us of our era right now, where we're embarking on developing powerful technologies that are likely to be transformative, that probably will be powerful and beneficial, and also probably will be powerful and harmful in ways that it's hard to anticipate.
Yeah, so somebody needs to write the Gothic AI novel, not the horror AI has been done. But I don't know if
I had an idea for that of a like Carpathian Mountains ancient millionaire who takes a boat to Silicon Valley and starts developing technologies in order to become a billionaire. That's as far as I've gotten, but maybe we'll be inspired. Yeah.
Do you have a question? Do you have any questions for me?
I guess the one question I have is, can you talk to me a little bit about what you know about all the space word ho novels and authors? I know of Ian Banks. The reason I know of Ian Banks is Justin introduced me to a rock climbing guide in Joshua Tree named Roddy, who I have hired, and then Justin had hired, and then Justin and I hired together to take us on a day of climbing, and he is a big Ian Banks fan, and he occasionally listens to our podcast too.
So I don't know much. I do know that Ian Banks and Ken MacLeod apparently are like very good friends. They're both Scotsmen. And they hang out together and they talk about sci-fi and write sci-fi. Like I said, Consider Phlebas is about like what a post-scarcity utopian galaxy might be like. Pandora's Star, unsurprisingly, like the illusion in the title, is about making a very bad choice. Apparently, a star just disappears. And it doesn't nova and it doesn't black hole. It just goes, which really shouldn't be possible. And the humans dispatch a ship to discover what happened. And then I guess we would figure out what happens in the rest of the book. The star fraction caught my eye because it seemed to have some of the like socialist proletarian kind of like stuff that I am just kind of a nut for. You'll never go wrong with me if you take social class stuff and stick it in a setting where it doesn't quite make sense.
Social class stuff in space, social class stuff in a Western, social class stuff in medieval.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only question I have. The others I think I sort of get. So I'd be ready to move on to our first choice each.
Yeah.
So I don't know should we just tell each other or should we put it in there's a rating window.
Yeah. And do we sort of do it as like a 1, 2, 3? Like, is that the way and then we would just put it in at the same time?
Yeah, let's do it like that.
Okay.
So what you're going to do, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then when you do it, put in 2 asterisks underneath either under column D in the relevant
for me
version, and I'll be doing column C.
Okay.
So I'm going to just take a quick look, but I think I'm ready. So you want to count us down?
Sure. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, and then
3,
I'll
2,
say
1, go. Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On go. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hilariously, I guess we probably could have seen this through like viewing where the other person is on the sheet. Okay, so relativistic noir and Ripley en film have made it right off the bat.
So we're gonna put this under. I'm gonna put it down here for bag 1. I'm gonna put relativistic noir, and for Duke's one, I'm gonna put Ripley. So the recycled pitch made it.
Comes back. That's good.
All right, so then we're gonna do 2.
Yep.
Should we do the same? I gotta admit, this is gonna be harder. I had like relativistic noir was like I'm definitely voting for that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna need a minute here. You know what?
Okay. I kind of need. I as well.
I think I have my pick.
Okay. I think I've got mine as well. Okay. Let me get in the spot. I'm going to put my cursor somewhere else to heighten the
drama.
The drama. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no.
Which one is it? It's 3 Body.
3 Body. Oh, and I was
And
only
it's-
I was supposed to put only one asterisk in there.
Doesn't
apparently.
matter.
Okay,
I know
yes.
what you voted. Revenge of the Jock-Nerds.
Revenge of the Jock-Nerds and and Three Body is the next choices. Okay, so
right. So I'm gonna add
we
Three Body
need. I need to copy.
and Revenge of the Jock-Nerds. We can.
Nope, not that one.
So this is you know what? I'm going to set up the ballot for the listener choice. I think we're down to 2 attendees right now, so you two are going to be very powerful.
To send
it to Jenny.
To Jenny and Ryan for their votes.
I'm going to update the voting document, and then you should. We can only the strong survive. That's right, Janelle. I'm going to do that, and that's right. You earned it. You earned that vote. So basically, the 4 series that we're voting on, we'll just do a quick review for everybody. One is a series called Unfair Debuts, which includes The Mysteries of Pittsburgh by Michael Chabon, Lincoln and the Bardo by George Saunders, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Suzanne Clark. Another one is Spaceward Ho, which includes a book called Consider Phlebas by Ian Banks, The Star Fraction by Ken MacLeod, Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. And then my nomination, one is Agatha's Descendant. So these are a bunch of lady mystery writers. An Unsuitable Job for a Woman by P.D. James, Case Histories by Kate Atkinson, In the Woods by Tana French. And then the other one that we did not choose is the OG Cinematic Universe, which includes Dracula by Bram Stoker, A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I will again, the form is this link right here. So I'm going to actually step away and take a 5-minute break, but when we come back, we'll tabulate the votes. If it doesn't work, we'll do another one. All right, so describe what we're seeing.
Right now, we are looking at a group of friends, and maybe one person who is not a friend.
Or maybe needs to reconsider his
friend choices. But the group of friends on the beach are throwing a frisbee farther and farther out into the ocean and forcing friend Kid A, to retrieve it. You estimate the water is about 60 degrees.
Yeah.
He is reacting as if it is about 60 degrees.
Yeah.
And the friends on the beach have not yet decided to hurl the frisbee back into the water. Yeah. But Kid A seems to be waiting for it.
Once you get in 60-degree water, you might as well stay in for a while because the worst is over, you know. And it's not, what is it, probably 60 degrees outside right now? Yeah. 65 degrees. Sun's about to go down. Will you describe the viewscape?
It's amazing. We're looking north towards Santa Monica. We're looking north towards the Santa Monica Mountains. And yeah, the colors are just getting better and better right now. You can really see...
Oh, he's taking off on a body surf. He didn't get it.
You can see... It's like one of those moments that makes the Los Angeles mythology very real.
Yeah. We can see in the distance the apartment in which Bridget Fonda's character lived in Jackie Brown, sort of over some palms, and we're sitting below the bluff on which the LAX airport sits, and every now and then an airplane comes overhead.
Oh, that's a way of... Yeah.
Get it. He's in it.
Yes.
Yeah! His friend duck dived it.
That was a great double up reaction.
This is actually all happening in the hold music section of our draft episode, because in the draft episode reality, everybody is having a bathroom break, and not
steep enough.
Not steep enough. And so what I wanted to just quickly do is mention our Patreon.
Yes.
Which is, we decided to launch Patreon because it's not terribly expensive, but it's a little bit expensive to run Upper Middlebrow. And we can have a photo of this moment.
That's a good idea.
For our social post. And so our goal is to cover our fixed costs, which are about $1,000 a year. If we get a little more than that, we might spend it on marketing. We might even spend it on an intern. We're nowhere near paying ourselves. But But if you would like to support the show, you can go to our Patreon, and there's also some gifts you can get.
Yes, if at any level you are going to pick up some home-designed bookmarks, the first bookmark you would get is sort of our classic. Oh, that was a good one.
He's in it.
Yeah,
he got it.
Our classic eyebrow-raised emoji on a black background depicting all of the books that we read in all the series that we read.
Upper Middlebrow classic, as it were. The classic season.
Classic look.
Yeah.
And the classic season. What we read in season 1. And then you're going to be able to have your choice of bookmarks from the series that we did along the way. So if you really enjoyed our series that involved, say, Project Hail Mary, and I believe we also had the Forever War in that, we called that one The Future Sucks. And if you really enjoyed those, you can get some bookmarks that are kind of styled.
That was Goon Squad and
Project Hail Mary, and I think The Arrest.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, the Forever War came.
That was part of Neuromancer.
And Do Androids Dream.
That was like sci-fi dystopia, basically.
That's right. And what was, I think, amazing about that is that the Forever War, which we sort of added later, was definitely our favorite book of that particular series.
This podcast is about discovery.
That's
and
true.
surprise.
Yeah.
And
But
curiosity.
you can get some bookmarks, and then at some higher levels, you can also get some editorial creative time with me or Jesse, or me and Jesse, if you want that creative threesome.
Pay us to hang out with you.
I mean, we're worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw where we were sitting right now, and you could hang out with us,
you would want to be here.
You would want to be here.
You would want to be
It's
here.
just
we
getting
could curate
better
this
and
experience for you. I have a folding bike.
That's true.
You could be with us
you
right
could make it
now.
happen.
We could come to your house and
Now.
tell you now. I could be at your house right now with Crispin Glover. Well, but right now, you are anxious to learn what did the listeners vote on for the listener's choice episode, and so we're going to take you right back to that to learn what is the 5th series of Upper Middlebrow Season 3. We got 4 votes on the Google form.
Okay.
And I'll say right now the leader is Unfair Debuts with 2. And then OG Cinematic and Agatha both have 1. So unless Jenny, we might have to do a tiebreaker.
Let's see. Can you see who voted?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So Jenny's vote was for the OG Cinematic Universe.
Oh, we have a tie. Unfair Debut. Do we need to have a vote off?
Oh my! What? Now what?
I don't know what to do. We didn't even consider
So
the
we're tied
possibility
between
of a tie.
OG Cinematic Universe and Unfair Debut.
Yeah, we could just do them both.
We could. We could.
Then
do that.
that's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot of books.
6 series.
That is 6 additional, like, non-science fiction books.
I mean, so I'm trying to think of what we could try to sell it right now. Mm-hmm. We could do a randomization, or we could. I mean, it would be hard to do another vote. Is there a Zoom polling feature? But I don't know from Zoom. Why don't we just say this? Okay, so you can only choose Cinematic Universe or Unfair Debuts. Just go ahead and put your vote in the group chat, and we have 3 guests, so that's going to create either 2-1 or 3-0. So
should I poll Jenny and Ryan again?
Well, if you can get them both, but if you can only get one of them, then we're likely to be. Okay, Janelle votes for Unfair Debuts. Kevin and Natasha votes for OG Cinematic. Janelle gives us a poop emoji.
Okay.
Is that OG Cinematic Universe, or are we going to? That was Jenny's vote too, right?
It was Jenny's vote too, so I think that is settled.
Okay. Well, I would be open to doing both.
Now it is doubly settled. because Ryan has voted for OG Cinematic Universe. I admit defeat.
All right.
Janelle, you and I will have our own we'll have a private book group of Unfair Debut.
Maybe you need a spin-off podcast.
There you go. Yeah, that does sound, we could do that.
So
Janelle, in terms of commitment in D&D, is one of the most committing persons that I've ever played with.
That is a really important quality in a Dungeons and Dragons game. So I'm going to add OG Cinematic Universe to the middle. So it's going to go Bagg 1, Dukes 1, Listener's Choice, Dukes 2, Bagg 2. So there we go. We got it.
Nice.
This is the next year of the podcast.
Yep.
Relativistic Nowhere, Replay en Film, OG Cinematic Universe, Three Body, and Revenge of the Jock-Nerds.
That is very exciting. This is going to be really fun. This is going to be another really fun year of books. I'm very excited that we're going to read. I'm really stoked to do Revenge of the Jock-Nerds.
We've been doing one every 2 weeks recently, but our goal is to get back on one every 10 days.
Yeah.
And we just kind of wanted to build a little bit of a kitty, and we're kind of there. We're almost there. We wanted to get some episodes taped so that we weren't constantly living paycheck to paycheck when it came to producing new episodes.
Okay, so, everybody, I'm going to read the credits. And Upper Middlebrow is a Small Point production. Chris Bagg and Jesse Dukes are well-dressed senior captains of the varsity podcasting team. Music is by Ben Pajak and Jesse Dukes. Design and website by me, Chris Bagg. And you can learn more about us, and you can still fill out our listener survey at uppermiddlebrow.com. Please review us in your podcast app, even if it's just give us the rating and just dump some words in there. I can't tell you guys how much it helps other people find the show. So if you could give us a rating and a review, we would really appreciate it.
Janelle, if you fill out our listener survey after you listen to a few episodes, I'll send you a tote bag. It might not be an Upper Middlebrow tote bag, but it will be a tote bag. And as a reminder, Chris and I are both writers and editors and can help you with your writing, podcasting, or editing project. You can see some of our portfolios and learn more at our respective websites. Ready for the names? chrisbagg.com and jessedukes.com. Once again, everybody, this is your door prize, a punk rock style Upper Middlebrow sticker in the style of the Endless Summer. So be sure to, if you attended tonight, to send us your address. If you didn't put it in the voting forms, I think a couple of you requested in-person delivery, so Chris Bagg's going to have to do the rounds in Oregon.
I will just pass them out at TNT games.
Yeah, Natasha, I'll have to get the address for you so you can get your door prize. I'll send it to you in the mail. But thanks, everybody, for joining. I think we'll go ahead and kill the Zoom now so we can all go back with our lives. Bagg, do you want to do a quick chat on the phone as a recap after we sign off?
Yeah, we could stay. You and I could just stay here in the Zoom. We could do that.
Then
too.
we have to tell everybody to go away.
Go away.
It feels aggressive.
All
right, everybody, go away.